Hey gang, John Baccarelli here with your Lake St. Clair Fishing Report, brought to you by Sportsmen's Direct. It is Wednesday, July 30th. We're almost made it to August. Water temperature at Belle Isle has gone all over the map here since I did the last report. It was at 77 at one point, then it dropped down to 73, and now we're back up to what is really the highest temperature so far this year, and it's at 78 degrees water temp at Belle Isle, and that's just kind of common sense with how hot it's been, right? And then we get that super heavy rainfall, and that was a really warm rain too. So the water temp is way up there. It's the warmest it's been all year for sure. But I think that's probably going to be about it, and we'll get to that in a minute here. So if you're watching the weather, you're going to see a big change, and it's actually almost here right now as we're shooting this video right now. By the time we get into the editing room, it's probably going to be pouring rain out there, and if you're looking at the map to our west, it's about a 20-degree temperature change headed our way right now, and some people are calling it an Arctic blast in the summertime. I don't know if I would go that far, but it's definitely a dramatic temperature change. And for the extended forecast going forward for the rest of the month, I should say not the rest of the month because it's only be a couple of days, right? But going through the month of August, they've got much cooler temperatures. So 70s and low 80s, I don't believe that they can see that far out, but at least the next week looks like it's going to be beautiful conditions, and it's going to be much cooler temperatures, lower humidity, lighter winds once we get through. Well, let's talk about it more specifically here. So we got a wind change out there right now. She's blowing out of the north, which is going to bring in cooler temps with this front. I'm going to have a northeast wind the next couple of days, so Thursday, Friday. But then once we go into the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and then into next week, cooler temps, lighter winds, awesome fishing conditions, okay? So that's what we got ahead of us. I have no satellite image for you. Satellite images were just kind of crazy. I don't know if it's because of the high humidity or more of the smoke or whatever, but could not get a good image, and the timing of the satellites was not right for when we had cloud cover or didn't have cloud cover. So but we did have very heavy rains 2 days ago. Okay, we had crazy heavy rains actually, and some of you folks probably got flooded basements, flooded streets. If you got stuck on the freeway, you might have got a flooded car. So all that rain, and I don't know how many inches we got, but we got a lot. So that's definitely got everything flowing. So if you're a catfish fisherman, you probably should get down to that spillway, because I'm sure there's a bunch of hungry kitties down there at the mouth of the spillway right now. Absolutely. Clinton River, Spillway, Thames, probably the Salt, any of the major tributaries on the lake right now are flowing, and that means they're putting color in the water, and that's not a bad thing because the water has been insanely clear out there. So having some color in the water, having some nutrients out there for these really small fry that we're all seeing out there, that's a good thing. So it also gives them cover too. So we need that, and looks like we got more rain coming now. I'm not sure if we're going to have a deluge or not, but that's going to keep the flow going, and it's going to add some more color out there. So that color means if you're going to be fishing out there this weekend, pay attention, because you could have some really good mud lines and color breaks, and you're just going to have some visual changes out there with light penetration, which is all hugely positive when you're out there trying to find fish in these kind of conditions. Because when the lake is just warm like this and everything is warm, the fish either tend to spread out or they go localized for a little bit cooler water. So let's talk about that a little bit more specifically. So there's a lot of perch action coming out there still by the shipping channel. But I keep getting reminded by guys that it's not just the shipping channel. There is also fish in like 14 feet of water in all different areas around the lake where you got weed beds. There's also some really shallow perch up in and around the channels. Now, the reason why they're up in and around those channels is it's cooler water, and the bait fish are attracted to some of that cooler water up in those areas, just like they are out there by the main shipping channel, because that's cooler water that's getting funneled down coming up out of Lake Huron as well. But not all the fish go out and find that cooler water. There's a lot of other fish that are going to be in and around, even around the shoreline still, even in that 80-degree water. I mean, I got a perch off of I got more than one, but I got one nice perch out off of the beach, just out in my kayak throwing swim baits, and I saw tons of perch following because like I said, the water's gin clear, and you can see them little striped bandits following your bait all the time. So there was quite a few fish out there, but they were very localized, and they're around very specific weeds, and they're in those weed beds where the water is just darker. So I don't know if it's algae or whatnot, but you will definitely see areas out there where the watercolor transitions and it just gets darker. It might be the same depth as everywhere else, but the water is just darker, and those fish are in that darker water if they're in shallower areas. So pay attention to those details. You're going to have more of those details to pay attention to with the color coming in from the runoff. So out by the shipping channel, up by the main channels where they come in, and then finding weed beds in and around the lake out in deeper water is probably going to be your best bet for perch, unless you're going to run across to the Canadian side over by Bell River Hump or areas like that. Out in those deeper areas should be good for perch as well. Smallies, very similar right now. I mean, go figure, right? Because perch are a primary forage for these smallies, so I can say almost the exact same thing about the smallies. There's a lot of fish that are moving out deeper. Probably your best numbers from what I'm hearing from the guys is 12 to 14 feet of water, and then there's some bigger kicker fish out deeper, and then there's some bigger kicker fish in shallower, and then there's some fish that are up in real shallow, up in and around where the channels are coming down into the lake. It reports as shallow as 2 feet of water on some of those sand flats. You know, gin clear water, 2 feet, but if there's a lot of bait up there, then those smallies are going to be up there chasing, especially if that water temperature is just a few degrees cooler. And up there, the water temperature has been considerably cooler than these higher temps down on the main lake. So I've even caught a few really nice smallies out off of the beach myself, just playing around in the kayak out there. So, you know, for the guys that can't get out and fish deeper, maybe you're just afraid to go all the way out to the shipping channel or go out into deeper water, or you're in a kayak like I am, yes, you can still catch fish in and around the shoreline if you pay attention to details, and especially get out early in the day before that sun gets up too high and before it heats up too much. That shallow bite is still there for sure. Definitely not as good as if you can get out farther into deeper water, but there are still fish there. Now, the musky bite continues to get better and better out on the lake. Now that we're just into full-blown summer here with the higher water temps, the musky guides like Garrett Samsel are producing big fish out there very regularly. That Bondi event that just happened this last weekend, they caught a large number of fish in that event. So it was a very successful event. Lots of fish caught. Some years it's not really that great, but this year they got a ton of fish. They got brought in for that event. You've also got guys like Brandon Pickens that are going out at night and scoring on that summertime night bite on skis, on big skis. And if you do that, then you're going to almost have the lake to yourself, but you do have to be careful because you do have crazies running around out there with them big boats at night as well. But you're definitely not going to have as much pressure out there from other fishermen at night as you do during the daytime. So that night bite's kind of a special thing. I know a lot more guys that do it in the fall. But Brandon's been out there this summer, and I've been watching him. He's been getting some big fish pretty much since the musky season opened this year. So that continues to go. But you know, again, if you're limited and you don't have a big boat, there are muskies all over the place on this lake. I got into a decent fish, probably 40-inch class fish, just out there messing around with the smallies. And I was actually kind of happy when he came off because I was just trying to play him out next to the kayak, and he was kind of hooked right there, which was perfect. And the hook popped out, and I didn't even have to mess with him and worry about reviving him in the warm water. So off he went, and I was pretty happy with that. He gave me a little bit of a tussle, pulled some drag, and I had a little fun. Got most of the fight out of him, and then off he went. Now. This kind of funny thing happened when I was out there. I had a pretty good sized fish come up in the front of the boat, and we'll see if you guys can name this fish. But you get a pretty good look at them coming out of the water. And these fish, I'll give you a clue. They're generally not known for surface feeding, but We'll see if you guys can guess what it is. I'm pretty sure I know what it was after reviewing the video quite a few times, but you just never know what you're going to see when you're out there on the lake, and having a camera going kind of helps. One of the reasons why I should go back to this, one of the reasons why I was kind of happy that the muskie didn't join me in the boat was because I've been kind of having an issue in the last week or two with pointy objects, and I had the first hook ever in my hand, had it in so far that I couldn't get it out myself. And thanks to my direct primary care doctor at Plum Health for taking care of me. For a lot of you folks that if you don't know what direct primary care is, you ought to check it out. It's a little different type of healthcare practice than what you might be used to. And one of the advantages of it is that they also provide urgent care. I'm looking for the right word here, but just they'll handle a lot of the things that urgent care will do as well, without the weight and without the additional cost. So I was really happy to get that hook out, and I'm 100% now. And thanks, Doc, you did a great job. And I'm going to try to stay away from pointy objects as much as I can here going forward. At least I'm going to be a lot more cautious around them for sure. Talking about pointy things, we've started making our 1 and 2 ounce Kang bangers again. And for you guys that jig salmon over on the west side of the state, or maybe up on the east side here as well, we make these salmon jigging spoons we call Kang bangers, 1 ounce and 2 ounce, and they work great for kings. And one of our regulars, Mike Malone, always takes them up to Traverse City, and he vertical jigs for Lakers with the 1 ounce Wonder Bread color and does really good up there every year. So he sent some pics from his latest trip up there, and I know a lot of guys don't like Lakers, but they're still really cool looking fish. And when you catch them vertical jigging, that's a blast. So thanks for the pics, Mike, and send more next time you're up there. We have got lots of deals in the bargain bin. We have got great weather coming this weekend and going into next week. So hopefully we'll get a chance to see you at the store. Hey gang, if you like our content, hit the little subscribe button and the bell icon, and you'll be notified as soon as we put out new stuff.